Okay, hello everyone once again. Welcome to Duplo's first virtual open house. We're so excited to have you here with us today. My name is Somto, and I'll be your host for this session. So, the topic for today is one that resonates with many of us, right? Career growth in the tech industry. And we know the journey in tech can take many shapes and can be different. It doesn't really look the same for everyone. And some tech career events like this one may be more focused on tech specific roles in the tech industry, but this what we have right here is quite different, right? Today's session is designed to give you some honest insights into what growth can look like, but not just in tech specific positions, also in various roles and departments in the tech industry in general. So to achieve this, we have invited team members from across departments to share real life stories about their career journeys, challenges they may have faced career wise, and how to thrive in the tech space. So I hope everyone is here so far. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to take a moment. First of all, to kick things off properly, right? It's only right that we hear from someone who has been in the heart of Duplo's growth from the very beginning. So please join me to welcome Yele Ayekola, our CEO at Duplo. Yele would be sharing. Okay. Yele will be sharing more about our journey as a company, our mission, where we started, and what we've achieved recently, and most importantly, where we're headed. So, while we just give that a few minutes, can you guys just let me know in the chat maybe your expectations from this session that you have joined today? You can just let me know what you're expecting to get out of this. You can also let me know at what stage of your career you are in. Maybe you are looking to grow in the tech industry, you're looking to advance your skills, or you're just here to gain more knowledge in general. Okay. I'm waiting for you guys' comment too. Okay, Faith says, I'm a newbie and I would love to gain more knowledge in tech. You will definitely get that from here. We have such an amazing panelists. We have different people from different departments in the tech industry, and I'm sure you'll be able to gain more knowledge. Okay, Pascal said, gain more knowledge, skill advancement necessary for growth in the tech space. You will definitely get that. Yeah, I'm Mary and I'm building a fintech startup. We're currently at the idea stage. Oh, that's amazing. I think I can definitely pick up some points from panelists that we have here today. Looking forward to learn different ways on how we can grow in the tech industry. Okay, you can definitely get that. All right, we can jump into the next session. Okay, like I said before, Yele, our CEO, will be sharing more about our journey as a company, our mission, where we started, what we've achieved recently, and most importantly, where we are headed. So, over to you, Yele.
Thank you very much, Santo. Just trying to confirm if everyone can hear me. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. So yes, really, really glad to be here, and really looking forward to this panel as well. My name is Yele Oyekola. Like Santo said, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Duplo. And yeah, really excited to share about who we are, what we're doing at Duplo, what we've achieved so far, and why that matters for you. Um, at Duplo, our mission is very simple, but quite ambitious as well. We want to power commerce across the entire continent. That might sound a bit vague and broad, but we actually mean that quite literally. We strongly believe that it should be quite similar to transparent for businesses on the continent to pay each other. When you think of consumer payments, we've made, the continent has made a lot of advancements on that. We think that the infrastructure is quite advanced. When it comes to business payments, it's a very different story. Businesses take forever to pay other businesses. Invoices aren't standardized. There's a lot of fraud is what happens with business payments. So we're still far behind in terms of the advancement for business payments. We also believe that finance team should spend less time on manual and just mundane work, and just have more time to make strategic decisions as a business. And that's really the north star that guides us at Duplo. And we're building the tools to make that possible. We launched January 2022, so it's been I think 3.5 years now. It feels like forever, but and when you're working with amazing people, time flies. And what we, like I said earlier, why we launched was just to simplify, B2B payments. Since we launched, we've made some amazing progress. We've acquired key licenses in Nigeria, including the PSSP and IMTO license, which just gives us regulatory, muscle to operate at scale. We processed tens of millions of dollars in payment volume for businesses across Nigeria. We also raised about over $10 million in funding, from some of the best investors in the world as well. So we have significant runway to achieve our goals. But I think most importantly is that we've built an amazing team that genuinely cares about solving very difficult problems on the continent for our customers. So yes, we're currently in 2025, and where are we headed to? So currently we're trying to scale very aggressively. We're building amazing new products. We're hiring incredible people, and that's what led to this panel today. We're also expanding into new markets as well. One thing we figured out, is that the products we basically offer to our customers actually adds a lot of value. So we actually want to double down on that, which is our core focus, which is basically transforming how businesses make payments and how they manage their financial operations as well from one single platform. Currently, we are just in Nigeria, but by the end of this year, we are planning to be live in 4 additional markets and operational in those 4 additional markets as well. I won't mention those names on this call, but yeah, really, really looking forward to that. And why this matters to you is that what we're building at Duplo is incredibly complex, but the opportunity is quite massive as well. And it will take incredibly smart people, ambitious people, folks who care about making an impact to basically help us get there. So yes, if you really care about solving very difficult problems, working with a very amazing team, and just trying to make a mark on the continent, Duplo is the place for you to be. I'm not trying to be a salesman, but that's just the truth. Anyways, that's it from me for today. Once again, looking forward to this conversation, and hopefully we can get some of you into the door here at Duplo. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Over to you, Tim.
All right, thank you so much, Yeli, for that inspiring look at Duplo's journey, and for sharing the milestones we've hit. It's always so inspiring to see how far we have come and also where we're headed. So now that we've heard about the bigger picture, right? So let's zoom in a bit and talk about what it's actually like to, work at Duplo. The day-to-day experiences, culture, values that guide us, how we work and how we collaborate together. So to take us through that, please welcome our head of people, Sarah Oyefeso, who will be sharing what truly makes Duplo a unique and fulfilling place to grow your career. All right, over to you, Sarah.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Somto. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you guys and be having this conversation today. I welcome all of you to our first ever virtual open house. And as Somto had mentioned, I am the head of people here at Duplo. I get really excited every time anyone asks us to speak about Duplo's culture because it's something that we've been very intentional about building. We're very intentional about building an organization where all our employees feel valued, respected, appreciated, and celebrated here with us at Duplo. So, what we've done so far is try to foster a collaborative environment where we have people with diverse perspectives come together to build innovative solutions for Africa, just as Yeli had mentioned. For us, timeliness is key. And we prioritize this obviously to deliver exceptional value to our customers who are at the heart of everything that we do here. We see challenges as an opportunity to excel. We see challenges as an opportunity to overcome. And for us, each employee here is empowered to take initiative, which aids in like a stronger sense of responsibility and ownership for all of us to win collectively. I would say that here at Duplo as well, we also value growth and the well-being of our employees. So we've put together certain robust structures around learning and development, performance management, employee engagement to create a pathway for employees not only just to scale their full potential within the organization technically, but to also have fun along the way doing so. As Yeli had mentioned, we do have some roles that are open within the organization. And I like to say that we have some of the most intelligent and driven people here at Duplo, even if I do say so myself. A lot of our employees are fantastic. So if you believe that you're passionate about scaling tech in Africa, you're able to take full ownership, you're adaptable in face of challenges, you're result oriented and self motivated, then this is the organization for you to be a part of, and you're at the right place joining this webinar. So we may just have a role for you here, and I know that by the time you listen to the panelists, you learn a lot more about Duplo, a lot more about growth within the tech space, and you would also see a pathway on how you could possibly join our team. So I do hope that you guys take something valuable out of this and enjoy the rest of the webinar. So I'll just hand over to Somto to conclude.
Thank you so much for that, Sarah. I'm very, very sure that they would definitely take a lot of valuable things out of this session. So let me just go back to the chat. Danielle says, "Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here." Hi, Danielle. We're happy to have you here also. Eunice says she's glad to be here. She's here to gain more knowledge on the tech industry and how one can grow. Then this is the right place for you. Okay. Okay, just another kind of icebreaker, right? Before we jump into the next session, so just for fun, what's your ideal work setup? Would you prefer to work remote, or would you prefer hybrid where you can work from the office some days and from home other days, or do you just prefer fully on site? You can just let us know in the chat. Do you prefer remote, hybrid? Okay, everybody likes remote. Okay, remote, please. Okay, remote, please. Okay, I'm saying hybrid. You see, hybrid is actually not such a bad idea. Like, you get to meet people, speak with people, get to learn a lot of different things. Online tutoring. Okay, remote hybrid with flexibility. All right, that's amazing. Hybrid. Okay, okay. Okay, it's really, really nice to have you all here. Okay, I'm seeing more hybrid now. That's amazing. Hybrid. All right. Okay. So just the next session, up to the next session, which is the main event of the day, our panel discussion on career growth in the tech industry. So, like I said before, we know that growth doesn't always follow a straight path. It's shaped by, different challenges, opportunities, risks, and some definitely surprising turns. So that's why we've invited a group of some of Duplo's incredible team members from across various departments to share their real experiences, like how they navigated their careers, the lessons that they've learned, and the moments that made a difference along the way. So it's going to be an honest and a very insightful conversation, and we hope it leaves you with a clearer sense of what growth can look like for you and just career-wise in general. So let's go ahead and meet the panel, right? Are you guys ready for that? Thumbs up if you are. Okay, amazing. Thank you. Okay, first of all, we have Adeola Sanyaolu, the head of customer operations and success here at Duplo. With over a decade of experience across fintech, SaaS, e-commerce, Adeola has led standout teams at companies like Jumia and Thank You Cash. She's passionate about helping people grow their careers in tech, particularly through less traditional routes like customer success and operations. Adeola brings a grounded, people first perspective to navigating careers, and we're excited to hear from her today. So, fun fact about Adeola, she loves dancing, but she doesn't really know how to dance. I know. Okay, welcome, Adeola. We're happy to have you here. All right. Um, Next, we have Aisha Adeshina, the People Operations Manager at Duplo. She's a dynamic and results-driven human resource generalist with over 6 years of experience across multiple sectors, from fintech and enterprise tech to education, media, and the NGO space. Aisha is deeply passionate about connecting the right talent to the right opportunities and has also built her career around shaping meaningful employee experiences, strengthening company culture and aligning people strategies with business goals. We're excited to have her share her journey with us. Fun fact about Aisha: if she if she didn't work in HR, she would be a news presenter, which is not such a fast stretch, but very happy to have you here, Aisha. Next, joining us as well is Ezekiel Turaki, our lead front-end engineer at Duplo. Ezekiel specializes in front-end development. Can you thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay. All right, so you guys can hear me fine. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Also, Ezekiel, our lead front-end engineer at Duplo. Ezekiel specializes in front-end development, particularly with React and TypeScript. So he also works across back-end and mobile technologies, making him a good, well-rounded engineer with a deep understanding of the full stack. He's passionate about building user-focused, scalable applications and is constantly exploring new ways to grow his skills across the tech stack. So, fun fact about Ezekiel: when he's not coding, you likely find him riding his motorcycle, playing video games, or giving back to the tech community through mentorship. So, we are thrilled to have him here on the panel. A round of applause for all our panelists. And last but not the least, we have Vera Obosi, our business operations lead at Duplo. So, with a solid background in business strategy, partnerships, and operational efficiency, Vera brings a comprehensive understanding of the remittance ecosystem, building the gap between compliance, treasury, and customer growth. She specializes in B2B cross-border remittances across Africa, where she plays a key role in enabling seamless and secure fund movement for businesses, fintechs, and institutions operating in the emerging markets. She's passionate about financial inclusion and developing innovative payments solutions that help African businesses succeed globally. We're thrilled to have her here. Fun fact about Vera: she loves her natural hair so much that she can actually wear cornrows to meet the president. I know that's funny. Okay, now that we've met our amazing panelists, like I said, we have people from different departments, across different departments in the tech industry. So I'll just like to go ahead now and ask the first question, which I think a lot of people would actually, like to know. It's going to give us a base of understanding of our panelists. So I'll start with Adeola. What inspired you to pursue a career in the tech industry?
Hi everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Hi Somto. So for me, I sort of fell into the tech space. I wouldn't say it was exactly like a conscious decision. However, before that, I had heard about the tech space, read about businesses like Paystack and Flutterwave, and wondered what differentiates them from a regular bank, right? This further piqued my interest in the idea of tech as an industry, to be honest. And the justification for it, what differentiates this industry from other industries. And to be honest, what I found, or rather what my conviction was at that time, was that tech was more of an enabler of industries and not necessarily an industry on its own. That was my understanding, because I felt like it was a group of companies that are seeking to digitize the processes or the tasks that are otherwise being done manually, or to make our, should I say, human lives better with digitization, right? So how did I then get into tech? I started my career in the real estate industry shortly, travel industry for like over 5 years. And about that time, COVID happened. So I think we all know that the travel industry was hit the most with COVID, right? So I had a career gap. And when I was ready to come back into a 9 to 5, my mentor then told me about an opening in a tech company in Lekki. I applied, and with my transferable skills and also experience in several other industries, I was able to get the job. So that was how I got into tech.
Really interesting, Adeola. Thank you for that. I think I'll throw the question next to Aisha. Can you just tell us, how you got into tech? What inspired you to pursue a career in the tech industry?
Hi, thank you, Somto. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here. So I started out my career in the media and advertising space. Then I moved to the education space before the tech space. Now, at some point, things got repetitive. They got boring for me. I wanted more. I like to see myself as someone that has, so much energy in me that I want to share and I want to put into work, right? And those industries just weren't doing it for me anymore. And I wanted to be in a space where things were happening really fast. People come together with an idea to build, solutions that would impact thousands, millions of people. These ideas, become these solutions in months, in weeks, right? I wanted to be a part of that. Most importantly, I wanted to be a part of, the team that was building the teams that were doing this, right? So, the pace of the technology space, the fact that you have to learn really quickly, you have to think fast, act fast, you have to be really innovative. That whole idea was what, attracted me to the tech space. And I would say that it's been a good journey so far. Thanks, Somto.
Thanks, Aisha. Okay, let's keep the momentum going, right? I think I'll go over to Ezekiel. Can you just tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in tech?
Yeah, hi Somto. Hi everyone. Great to have you on this session. Yeah, so what inspired me into tech? First, I like to solve problems and I love to innovate also and try out new things, right? And not just be boxed in with a normal routine. So that pushed me into tech. Background wise, I had like less background in tech, so it was engineering, but I was supposed to be like climbing mast or maybe with MTN under the hot sun and the sweating, right? But yeah, the whole idea of being able to sit and being able to innovate and being able to solve problems, build solutions that can tackle real life problems, right? That was what brought me into tech. Um, the whole idea of yesterday's problem might be different from today's problem is what keeps you going, right? When you know that you have to keep learning and you have to keep improving yourself, right? That's like a fuel that will keep you going and all that. So yeah, that's what inspired me into tech. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. Just a reminder, if you have questions that you'd like to ask, you can drop them in the chat box, and then I will go ahead and ask those during our Q&A session. Okay, lastly, let me just throw the question to Vera. Can you just tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in tech?
Well, like Ezekiel, at the time when I joined tech, I was a graduate of microbiology from the university. So I was science oriented, but nothing along the lines of IT at the time. But I had a brother who was into software engineering at that time. And a lot of times, what he would be speaking about, like he would join stand up calls and you hear them talk about iteration, oh, we're shipping this feature, we have to get this done in such a short time, we need to ship. And it's like from one project to another at other times. I'm like, okay, what's going on? This sounds like really fun. For someone like me who didn't like I struggle with boredom a bit, so I felt like okay, this was something that okay would always be interesting because we're going to be doing new things every time. We're going to be working on projects every time and all of that. So that's how I got into tech. I got an internship opportunity to get into a fintech company, and I took it. And I've always been in tech since then, and I don't think I will ever leave tech.
Thank you, Vera. I think that's loyalty. If I've ever heard loyalty before. Okay. All right. I think I'll just go ahead to ask some, role specific questions so our audience can get, enough answers that they actually came here to get from us. So, Aisha, I'm just going to start with you. I saw a question relating to that in the chat box, so that's why I want to start with this. So, what are some of the most in demand soft skills in the tech industry today, and how can professionals stay competitive?
All right, thank you for that, Sumto. I'd start with one of the most overlooked aspects of building a really thriving career within the tech industry is the mastery of soft skills, right? Yes, your technical expertise is really essential, but what separates a lot of top performers in different companies within the tech space from their peers is how well they work with people, how they're able to navigate complexities, how are they able to drive impact beyond what's written just in their job description, right? So a lot of people focus on the technical part and completely ignore the soft skill part. Now, when an industry that is evolving at a really fast pace, you need to be equipped with a combination of both technical expertise and soft skills for you to thrive as a professional. Now, there are numerous soft skills, but I'll speak to just a few of them that are really critical for you to thrive as a professional within this space. And the first one that I know that we're very familiar with and we've heard countless times is communication. I think just today alone, I've heard the importance of communication like a number of times, right? Now, when we say communication, we're not just saying just verbal communication, but also written communication, right? As someone in the tech industry, you're a professional. You're going to find yourself explaining some maybe technical terms to non-technical stakeholders within your company. You need to be able to collaborate effectively, and not just within your team, but also with other teams, right? Cross-functional communication, collaboration. If you're not able to do this, if you're not able to communicate properly to do this, then you might struggle to thrive within your organization. You also need to be able to listen actively, right? For you to be able to put some of the things that you have heard within, your stand-ups, your meetings, your syncs, right? Put it to action. So your ability to, communicate in a very clear, in a concise manner is indispensable when you're within the tech team. We cannot overemphasize the importance of communication as professionals within the tech space. The second important one is adaptability. I'm sure that today you would hear a lot about how the tech space is fast evolving, how things are always moving really fast. Now, you're a professional, you found yourself within this space. How you thrive is for you to stay adaptable, right? Now, depending on the kind of company or the kind of organization that you are within the tech space, say, for instance, you're within maybe the financial technology sector, where some regulatory bodies can, bring up policies that might affect the business objectives or the business goals, and you're a professional within the organization. How do you learn? How do you unlearn what you already have? How do you stay adaptable to ensure that, this new policy from this regulatory body doesn't affect the overall business objectives? How do you pivot quickly? How are you able, say you're a software engineer, there's some updates to a stack that you're used to, and then you're just the kind of person who says, oh, well, I'm used to this works. Why do I need to pick up this? You're no longer contributing to the overall business objectives, right? So you need to be able to stay adaptable. You need to be able to learn quickly. You need to be able to, when there are new tools, new technologies, new methodologies that, constantly coming up, you need to be able to stay with what's relevant today and not what's relevant yesterday. So adaptability and, learning, they're really crucial for you as a professional within the tech space. And then the third one is collaboration. Now, collaboration is another skill that we cannot overemphasize. Now, it's just not your ability to be able to chit chat and laugh with people, right, within the organization. I know that a lot of us are good at that. But you're going to be doing a lot of work with people, not just within your team, outside your team. Sometimes you even have to collaborate with maybe customers of the organization, right? When you're trying to solve problems with them, when you're trying to hear them out. So when I say cross-functional collaboration, it's not just engineers and product guys, sales guys, customer support guys, people operations guys, right? You need to be able to collaborate effectively, because collaboration, cross-functional work is at the heart of any organization you find yourself if you're within the tech space. Now, your ability to be able to, do this is going to help you thrive. And finally, emotional intelligence. A lot of people get into trouble because they don't apply emotional intelligence into what they do. Now, you're going to be doing a lot of relationship management. You're going to be speaking with people. You're going to be working with people. You collaborate, you communicate. Yes, you stay adaptable, but your ability to be able to, show empathy, your ability to be able to be self-aware, think of other people when you're communicating, when you're working with them, is very essential for collaboration, is very essential in leadership. So you need to apply emotional intelligence to everything that you find yourself doing within, your company in the tech space. Now, I think somebody had asked a two-in-one question, right? How professionals are able to stay competitive within the space. The first one, ask for feedback regularly. Now, there's one thing I always tell myself: in my blind spot, I can't grow. I need to know what that blind spot is. If I just, if I don't know, then how do I grow? So you need to ask for feedback regularly. Now, when I say feedback, not just, I'm asking my manager for feedback, or you're asking your manager for feedback. If you have a direct report, you're a leader, you also need to get feedback from them, right? So you need to ask for feedback regularly. Get this feedback, work on them, take it as constructive, feedback when it's not so great feedback, and work on them. And then the second one for me is building authentic relationships. Now, you need to be able to network inside and outside of your company. This can really accelerate your career, right? Whether you're attending events, you're joining trainings, whether you're volunteering at an organization, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to make sure that along the line, you need to be able to build authentic relationships with, your network of people, or people who are aligned with what you're looking for in your career. This would help you to stay competitive, right? And then finally, again, we're back to soft skill, right? You really need to invest in this soft skill development. It's not something that, you just sit and it just comes to you. You need to take courses. You need to read books. You need to find mentors. You don't just forget yourself and upskill technically. Oh, I'm a great software engineer. Oh, I'm a great product manager. However, I'm not really great at collaborating with people. I'm not really great at communicating. I don't know how to stay adaptable. Then your technical skill is not really needed at that point, right? Because organizations want more than what you can offer technically. So you need to also invest in your soft skill development. Because of time, I think I'll just stop there now, so Somto doesn't stop me. Thank you.
Okay, really appreciate that, Aisha. Um, so now shifting gears a bit, right, Ezekiel, let's talk about, in the engineering field, right? How should developers decide whether to specialize in a niche or to become a full stack developer?
Mm. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that question. Uh, so it depends on your goal, right, and the stage that you're at, right? So I feel earlier in your career, right, being a generalist can help you like get the particular niche that you're good at. For example, right, when starting, you can maybe take up tutorials, maybe front end, maybe back end, uh, maybe product design, maybe QA, right? So you can know where you would want to be. I'll give an example, right? When I started my career, I started learning Java, right? Not that I was doing bad in Java, right? But I did not. I like the idea of seeing what I'm building. Back then, they'll tell me, "And just do it and run your server." Then when they connect, then they'll submit the data and all that thing. It was. I could not imagine it, right? And it did not make sense to me. So then I was walking past the team lead of the front end team then, and I saw these beautiful charts, these pie charts there, and I was like, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is what I like." Right? Then I switched departments. So that particular scenario, right? I started with backend, Java, learning Java, but then I love like the UI. I love seeing what I'm doing, right? So that was what pushed me into front end, right? So then that became my niche, and I had to just build myself in that field, right? So when you get the field that you're good at or what you want to specialize in, I feel you should first specialize and be a master of that field, right? So let's say maybe if they are going to call Mr. ABC, right? Any front end problem, they know that ABC can solve all the problems for me in that front end field because he's a pro at that, right? Then later in your career, if you want to switch to another niche, you can switch, right? But I believe more in not jack of all trades, master of none, but right, mastering one field and become a pro in that field. Then go to your career to the highest level in that field. And if you want to try out something else, you can try out something else. Yeah, thank you.
Somto, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ezekiel. Those are really great points. I think I will just move over to Adeola. So my question for you is that customer career growth in customer success, right, is not always a one size fits all. It's not always direct for everybody. Everybody, different people have different experiences. So based on your own experience, what are some of the ways that professionals can, grow in this field?
All right, thank you very much, Somto. So, like you've said, career growth in customer success and maybe customer support is really linear, but it often depends on a professional's strengths, interests, maybe the structure of the organization that you're in, and some other factors. However, there are some common and strategic ways that professionals can progress in this field. And the first would be the leadership track, where it's a vertical movement from customer success manager to senior CSM to team lead to CS director, VP of CS, or chief customer officer. This is usually mostly advisable for people who enjoy coaching, building processes, and driving strategy across teams. Another route would be the specialist or strategic role, where you are a subject matter expert. So let's say a customer success operations manager, an onboarding and implementation specialist, or a renewal account manager or role, right? And this is mostly ideal if you're a person who enjoys analytics, systems, and commercial ownership. There is also the option of cross-functional moves where CSMs can transition also into other fields like product management by leveraging their deep customer insights. You can also transition into sales or account executive, especially for expansion and upsell focused roles, and also marketing, especially around customer marketing or advocacy programs. And then there's a technical pathway where with some upskilling, a typical CSM can become a solutions consultant or a technical accountant or even a customer's engineer, which is ideal for people who have some sort of technical acumen. So basically, it depends on you as a person, as an individual. What drives you? What do you enjoy doing the most? What are those skills, those things that you can do and you can do easily, or you can do well, or you enjoy doing? Like I said, that would then determine which route you would choose when, should I say, structuring your career within the CS profession. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adeola. That was really great. That was a really amazing answer. All right, I think I'll just move over to Vera. So business operations is a really dynamic field, right? So it's not the same for everybody. It's not the same in every organization. So what does business operations entail, and what does career growth look like in this space for you?
Okay. So, like you mentioned, business operations is indeed dynamic. When I like to talk about business operations, I like to talk about it from like the perspective of a car, right? A car has all these moving parts, all these big parts. You have the engine, which is like the major driver, but sometimes the engine needs engine oil. Right? And that's how I
Hi,
see
Vera.
business operations
Can
are.
you hear me?
Business operations is always like the engine. Can you? Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You
Can you
can
hear
go ahead.
me? All right. So I was saying you're constantly business operations is an intersection between execution, strategy, and also a bit of problem solving also where you're constantly streamlining internal processes and making sure that they are more efficient and scalable. It would also involve a lot of cross-functional coordination. We're constantly working, like I constantly work with this
I think your internet is breaking a bit, Vera. Can you hear me, Vera?
the treasury team. It also involves a lot of
Can you hear me? Hello, Vera. Okay, I think you can just leave and then rejoin, and then we'll just get back to your question. Okay. So I think I'll just move over to just a general question, right? So people are trying to break into tech without a tech background. So in your experience, I'm sure there are a lot of people here that are trying to break into tech background. So in your experience, what advice do you have for them, and what are some of the best ways to get that first opportunity? So I think I'll go ahead and ask Adeola first. How do you think people can just get that first opportunity when they're trying to break into the industry?
All right, thank you very much, Santo. So, for people wanting to break into tech without a technical background, it's not only that it is possible, but it is becoming very, very common because many tech companies also rely on non technical talents to succeed in roles like customer success, legal, operations, project management, marketing, sales, and the likes. So, for me, I would say that the first thing would be to leverage your transferable skills. You don't have to have worked in tech for you to be able to work in tech, right? Even if you don't have the technical skill or you're not coming via the traditional role, maybe being an engineer or a product manager or things like that, right? If you have transferable skills from your previous experience, I think it will come into play. For example, I mentioned that I wasn't even in tech. I was just hearing about tech and wondering what it was about. I was in the travel industry. And after that, I moved into tech because I was able to scale through the interview based on the fact that I could package myself, I could communicate my skill in technical terms, I could convince the hiring manager that the skills that I have, even though I wasn't working in tech, are very, very relevant and can be easily transferable into the role that I was applying for. Right. Another thing would also be to learn the basics of tech tools and concepts. You need to be able to learn how SaaS works, how APIs work, what are KPIs, what KPIs really matter within tech, depending on your own, should I say, field of study or your own specific profession. You also need to get hands on with tools like Salesforce, HubSpot, Zendesk. This is particularly for CSMs, customer success managers. You need to know your CRM. You need to be able to use these CRMs. And you need to get insights from these CRMs to be able to help your business or provide, should I say, data that is relevant for decision making. You can also take free courses or low cost courses on LinkedIn or Coursera or Academy, sorry. And this will help you to better understand the application of your profession within the tech space. For example, what does it mean to be a customer success manager in a B2B SaaS company, for example, or a fintech company or a health tech company, for example, right? Another important thing would be to be able to network strategically. You need to reach out to people in the roles that you want. Ask them about what the job entails. If you can, request for like an informal interview from them. Let them critique you, let them assess you, so to speak, and be able to tell you, oh, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, these are things that you need to work on, these are things that you already have, and that you can put out there for you to be noticed. We should also attend webinars such as this, join local communities that are related to your own role of interest, or attend local meetups as well. And another important thing I would say is that you need to have an optimized LinkedIn profile. Sorry, I think it's becoming increasingly popular within the tech space that recruiters headhunt individuals that they want for certain roles. So if your LinkedIn profile is optimized, if you're visible on LinkedIn, do you share insights on your journey? Do you share insights on your learning? Do you share insights on your experience? Do you share insight on your area of specialization, what you know and what you know well? Are you able to teach other people? Are you able to educate other people? Are you able to engage other people in a discourse around these kind of things, right? You should also be able to comment on other people's posts, especially those that are relevant to your area of interest. And if you can, as much as possible, get a mentor within the industry that you want to move into, be in the tech space. Get somebody who works in a similar role in a similar company, and just let them mentor you, let them critique your knowledge, and just put yourself out there. Basically, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Adela. I think I'll just move on to Aisha to answer the question. What advice would you have for people that are trying to, break into tech without a tech background, and how can they get that first opportunity?
All right. So this is a very important question, and that's because the truth is, the tech space needs people from that don't have tech backgrounds, right? People with non-tech backgrounds. Some of the really good people that I've worked with, they have finance background, they have law background, education, marketing. They don't have educational tech background, right? And that's because tech is no longer just about coding. Oh, I can code and that's just it. It's about solving problems. It's about understanding users, the users you're building something for, right? It's about managing teams. So I think my first advice would be start where you are. Not You're not just looking at where you want to be. You have to start where you are, right? Just like I had just mentioned, you don't have to be a software engineer to enter into tech. Oh, if I'm not a software engineer, then this is not my space, right? There are other roles. There are roles in operations. There are roles in product management. There are roles in customer success, like Adeola mentioned, people operations, even sales, right? They are all critical roles within the tech space. And fun fact is, these roles, right, they're done differently within the tech space when you compare to other industries, right? So it's even more accessible for people that are trying to pivot in, from scratch. So you have to start where you are. And then you also have to leverage the skills that you already have. A lot of us don't even know that we have these skills that are transferable, right? We just think, oh, I have this experience from this industry, this industry. I've done this, I've done banking, I've done this. I don't think that I'm really great at, going into the tech space because I can't write code. One, I'm going to say again, can you communicate really well? That's transferable. Leverage on that. Can you solve problems in any industry that you've been? That's a transferable skill. Leverage on that. Do you manage projects? You don't have to have the title project manager. Do you manage projects? Whatever industry you're coming from, leverage on that also. Do you have good leadership skills? These are huge, skills within the tech space, right? That you also need to leverage on. So you need to make sure that your past experience is framed, in terms of the impact, in terms of the relevance, not just, whatever job title or whatever industry that you're coming from. And finally, I like to say, be willing to start small. Now, I know that if we take a quick survey now and we say, oh, a lot of us here, why do we want to go into tech? Everybody's like, oh, for the big money. I want to start earning dollars. I want to start earning the big bucks, right? But if you're just transitioning into tech without a tech background, you need to be willing to start small. Those entry level roles, those internships, those contract gigs, those volunteering opportunities, it can, shoot you to a very long way, right? It can be, a project that's just really small and can pave, a huge way for you to get into the industry. I have a personal experience where, at some point in my career, after a few years in, I took up an internship, right? And I remember everybody telling me, oh, are you crazy? Are you okay? Why are you doing this? Why are you taking this pay cut? But I know what I needed. And I didn't mind. This is not to say I didn't have a plan, right? I had a plan. And I didn't mind because I was looking at the bigger picture. But it was absurd to everyone around me. But when I look back now, I'm really grateful and thankful. And I had someone, pushing me also that believed in me, right? And I took this up and it's really helpful for me today. So don't look down on those opportunities. I know that some of us, when it comes to, oh, do I take this internship? This is what I want. This is where I'm coming from. I really want that. What's standing between myself and that is an internship or an entry level role or a junior role. Should I take it? Should I not take it? You need to take it. Now, in the process of also, trying to get internships or these contract gigs or entry level roles, you need to make sure that you make good research. So you don't just end up in a place where, oh, you're doing internship to, pivot into tech, and then they're just sending you amala in the afternoon, or they're just telling you to go and, make photocopies for them. You need to, make proper research. And one of the reasons why, I'm really proud of working at Duplo is we have a great internship program, right? And we have a number of people on this call who have also, benefited from this program. We've transitioned into full-time opportunities, and they're doing really good, right, in their chosen field. And these are people who did not have any experience, right, before they came into, Duplo and joined the internship program. So make proper research and be willing to start small, right? Once you get into the organization, if you have initiative, you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow, you're adaptable, you can grow really fast, faster than you expect. So that's what I would say about, people transitioning without, tech, I mean, educational tech background.
All right. Thank you so much, Aisha. So it seems Vera is back. I'll just go back to her question that she was trying to answer. What does business operation entail, and what does career growth look like in this space? So just Vera, you can just quickly answer this. Thank you.
All right, can you hear me clearly now, Somto?
Yes, you're good now.
Okay, so as I was saying, business operations would always be an intersection between strategy, execution, and problem solving, and um, process optimization is one of the things that you're going to be doing as a business operations personnel. So, what does process optimization entail? It entails just streamlining internal processes for efficiency and scalability. You would also be doing a lot of cross functional coordination. You're working with teams like the sales, the finance team, the product team, customer success, and you're making sure that there is an alignment between the teams. You're also going to be doing a lot of data analysis, which includes a lot of monitoring KPIs. KPIs are just key performance indicators, and using those data to inform decision. This decision is what will drive management to make certain decisions in certain areas. So you know how very important that is. There's a lot of project management involved in the role. You're driving strategic initiatives or special projects. There's a lot of problem solving. You're tackling operational bottlenecks or organizational challenges at the same time. You're always constantly firefighting and making sure that things go as they are planned, and it's a very highly collaborative role. Now, for career growth within the space, what would that look like? So, as an entry level person, you're going to be coming in as a business operations analyst or an associate, which is an entry level role, and your focus then will be on learning to analyze data, reporting, and supporting key projects. And then you can then become a business operations manager. You manage initiatives, you lead cross functional projects, and you begin to own strategy at this point. Then, as you grow, you then become a senior manager or a director of business ops. That's a strategic role. You partner with leadership to shape operational decisions. You could also scale to become VP of operations or COO. At this point, I like to say that most times CEOs are um, you are a CEO in waiting. And that's because you oversee full operational functions at this role, you're scaling processes and teams, and you're aligning operations with business goals. But there are other aspects of business operations that you can see come out in specific other industries, because it's like a Venn diagram and you have an intersection. And so you have things like product operations. So if you're someone with a product background and you want to then use that background to get into operations, you could do product operations. You could also do finance operations. But as a business operations person, one thing is quite clear. You're constantly learning about the company inside out. You know everything that's going on to a very large extent, and you're constantly involved in the day-to-day activities of the company. So that's what business operations would typically look like for someone doing business operations or someone interested in the role.
Okay, thank you, Vera. So for those interested in operations, I'm sure you've gotten a lot from that. Just a reminder, you can just continue to drop your questions in the chat, and then we'll get to them after the session. So next, I'm just going to ask Ezekiel. So what advice do you have for junior engineers who want to accelerate their growth and stand out?
Yeah, thank you, Somto, for that question. So yeah, so I would say the fastest growth rate comes from intentional learning, right, and real world exposure. right? So you have to first take up tutorials, right? But while you're taking up tutorials, you should build things, solve real problems. For example, let's say you're someone that you're not so organized, right? How can you help organize yourself? Maybe you can build like maybe a task manager or maybe a to-do app, right? Use it. Find the bug in your own application because you're solving your own problem, right? Then also contribute to open source, right? You can also volunteer for nonprofits or just projects. Each project teaches you everything new, right? I remember when I started my career, the first project I worked on, like the large scale project, I wanted to like quit because it felt like it was too much, right? So imagine for everybody familiar with maybe front end or software engineering. So imagine someone learning HTML and CSS, and maybe they give you like baptism of fire with Angular project. You know, Angular is a lot of things, learning about directives and all those things. So it's a lot of like trying to like, okay, it's too much. Where can I even start from? Right? It's like overwhelming. But yeah, but taking each project step by step, looking at how you can solve today's problem. Maybe they give you maybe authentication flow to work on, right? How can I solve this authentication flow? Is this the best way I can solve this authentication flow? Coming back maybe 2 3 weeks or 2 months later, and you review it because you learn every day. The code I wrote last year, if I look at it now, to be like, what did I write? So what was I even thinking when I wrote this, right? So every year you just try to like just evolve and learn new skills and new ways of doing things, right? For example, session storage, local storage, or cookies, depends on the use case, right? So take up that project, read up on the what you're supposed to do, understand the core concepts of what you are doing. Don't just like you know many things, right? But just understand the core concepts of what you are trying to build. Then invest in projects, do a lot of things because that's what you're going to show when someone comes to tell you, okay, you want to be or you want to apply for this, okay, what have you done, right? So you need to show what you've done and to show that, okay, you're qualified for this role, right? Then also as you're building your technical skills, as everybody has mentioned here, also build your soft skills, your people skills, and so that later you might transition to that point in which you manage teams, right? So if you don't have that people skills, you'll not be able to reach to that point, right? So it's just a combination of both hard skills and soft skills. Yeah. Thank you, Somto.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Ezekiel. I think I'll just go next to Adeola for the next question that I have for you. So, for professionals that are working within the non-technical roles in the tech industry, so who are considering a transition into customer success, right? So, what key skills and experiences should they focus on to make a successful transition?
All right, thank you very much, Somto. For professionals in non-technical roles looking to transition into customer success within the tech industry, as earlier stated, many of your existing soft skills are already highly transferable. So I would, however, mention some key skills and experiences that you need to focus on as an individual. And the first would be something that Aisha had mentioned over and over and over, but I would call it customer centric communication. You must be able to listen actively, and you must be able to communicate clearly and with empathy with your customers. And by customers, I don't just mean your external customers, your internal customers as well, because as a CSM, you are collaborating regularly with product teams, with the engineering team, with the payment operations team, with the sales team. So you need to see them as your internal customers as well and be able to communicate with them actively, with empathy, clearly. You need to be able to get them to give you what you need, right? You cannot always fight people. You need to be very, very diplomatic in your approach. You need to have tact when you speak to people or when you communicate your ideas or your need or your ask to people. You also need to be able to explain complex concepts simply. Now you're dealing with customers who are not technical, right? I always assume that my customers don't understand technical jargon. So whenever I'm getting information from product, I'm getting information from engineering, my engineering lead already knows. When he's done explaining everything to me technically, the next thing I do is, so in summary, simple English, is this what you are trying to say? If he confirms that I was able to interpret that in simple English and means the same thing he was trying to say, then I don't understand what he's trying to say, and I can go back to the customer. Right. And that is a very, very important skill, because your customers will not understand your technical jargons. Your customer will not even be patient to listen to technical jargon. What that person wants to hear at that moment is, how does this apply to me? Simply put. Right. So you need to have that particular skill. You need to be able to demonstrate this. I need to be able to show examples where you have been in client-facing roles, the kind of work you have done. If you have done stakeholder presentations, that you have prepared, you can also present that and show that off as part of the proof of what you are able to do. And also you can show proof of user training experiences that you have. Another very important skill for customer success is relationship management. It's all about managing relationships. Again, in managing relationships, it's not just with your external customers, but as well as your internal customers, the other departments within the organization that you would regularly collaborate with. You need to manage relationships with them. You need to be able to get them to give you what you want when you want it. You need to have tact when you speak to them. You need to know when to push and when to pull. I think one of my colleagues already mentioned that there are times where you guys will have misunderstanding, but you must understand that the job is the job. So because we did not agree now, doesn't mean we are enemies or that we are fighting, right? So you need to be very, very mature in how you deal with people. So you must be able to build trust with your customers. You must be able to manage your customer expectations. You must be able to know how to navigate difficult conversations within and without. Difficult conversations with your customers and difficult conversations with your colleagues. You also should be able to demonstrate this skill and be able to highlight any roles where you have worked directly with clients, with partners, or with internal stakeholders to resolve issues or to improve outcomes. And another very, very important skill is creative problem solving. You need to be a problem solver, and not just a problem solver. You need to be very creative, especially in the tech space. Because Aisha had mentioned that in the tech space, we are constantly building, we are constantly developing, we are constantly iterating. So one thing I have noted in the tech space is that there is no one size fits all. There is no hard and fast rule. It is not, this is how things are done and you have to do it that way. No, you won't get anywhere in tech. You need to be very, very creative in your problem solving. So this is how things are done. This is how other businesses are doing this. Okay. These are the downsides of how other businesses are doing this. Okay. How can we position ourselves better? How can we leverage on the positives of how these things are done and downplay the negatives? So are there things that they are doing that we can change that will give us an edge? You need to always come from that perspective when you're solving problems. So creative problem solving skills and the ability to think strategically. This would involve the ability to anticipate customer pain points even before it happens. You must be able to tell if something is going to cause like a negative experience for your customer, even before the customer has like an interaction with that product, if you get what I mean. You also need to be able to actively recommend solutions and create custom success plans for your customers. If you're in a B2B company like ours, there is no one blanket customer success plan that would fit into every customer's use case. So you need to understand your customer. You need to understand their business so that you can tailor your solution to their need. For us, we do payments and we do collections and payouts quite all right. I always say that. But when I look at all the businesses that I handle in my portfolio today, the way they do their payments and collections within their organization is actually quite unique to them. Or the way they've how am I the process with which they make those payments or do those collections is very, very peculiar to them. So as a customer success manager, it is important that you understand this peculiarity and be able to customize success plans for those businesses. To demonstrate this, you can use examples where you have proactively improved the process, even in your past role, or helped a team member overcome an operational challenge. It is also important to know that you need to have empathy for the customer journey. You need to know the customer touch points for your organization. You need to understand what is adoption, what is onboarding, what are the renewal phases, especially if you plan to work for a SaaS company like Duplo. Thank you.
Thank you, Adeola. Thank you so much for that. Um, I'll just move on to Aisha now. So, what common mistakes do you see professionals make when trying to advance in their careers, and how can these mistakes be avoided?
All right, thank you, Somto. Okay, so first mistake, right? Focusing on solely your technical skills. I mentioned this earlier. The tech space is not just about how great are you technically. It's a combination of both, right? Then there's another one where people also just, focus on just job titles. Now, as a professional, yes, it's important. Yes, it's good to have But do you want a situation where you're just piling up job titles as you scale from company to company and then they're not relevant? Or do you want, relevant experience as you move and as you scale within your career, right? So instead of focusing on that and neglecting, the bigger picture of how do you show up within the organization? How do you add value? How do you build relationships, right? Those are some mistakes, some common mistakes that a lot of professionals make. Now, there's some ways to avoid them, of course. And I think the first one is now I have a number of acquaintances or maybe friends say, oh, I've been in this organization for so long. I've been here for 4 years. I've been here for 3 years. I'm not growing, I'm not scaling. Somebody who joined and she spent a year and 6 months, she has scaled, she has grown, she's been promoted. Now, there's one, sentence I always say. Career advancement, it doesn't just happen because you've been around the organization for so long. People don't do that anymore. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, yes, maybe some companies do that. But does that even help you as a professional? So it doesn't just happen because you've been around long enough. Nobody is just going to hand you growth because, oh, you've been with the company since they started. However, you didn't scale, you didn't upskill, nothing. You just want someone to hand you growth, right? Now, you need to be proactive. And being proactive means you're asking for feedback constantly, regularly. You're setting clear goals for yourself. You are hitting the goals that have even been set for you within the organization. You are actively, seeking out opportunities to grow, to stretch within the organization. It's not until when you move to another organization, right? Say we have a situation where, oh, my line manager is working on something. We worked on it together. Now she has to present this. There's an emergency, she can't do it, as simple as this, right? I worked on this, so of course I have, knowledge about it. I mean, as a professional, it should just, be up to me to say, oh, I'd like to present this, practice and do it. That's me actively seeking out an opportunity within my organization to stretch. It's not until when, I apply to another organization, right? So that's a way to, avoid some of these mistakes when you're trying to grow in your career. Now, another one would be a lot of people also avoid, difficult conversations or feedback. Now, I've been saying feedback a lot, and that's because it's really important. Growth doesn't really come when you're in your comfort zone. It comes sometimes from discomfort. Now, I know that a number of us here, if we throw this question open, you would have maybe worked with someone at some point who, oh, yeah, this person is great at what they do, but they just don't know how to communicate. Oh, they just, when you tell them that, oh, there's a mistake or there's an error in something that they've done, they're all very defensive, they are very angry. So I would rather not work with them, right? Now, that's not a good way for anyone who's trying to advance their career, right? If you keep avoiding these difficult conversations, if you keep avoiding not so great feedbacks, then that's no way for you to scale, right? You need to be able to lean into these conversations or this feedback with, some level of curiosity, not you being defensive. That's a great way to grow. And then finally, when you're not aligned with the business objectives. Why are we all in our different organizations within the tech space? Is to achieve the business goals, right? Or the business objectives. Now, a lot of us just, forget about, the business goals and we're just focused on our day to day, right? Rather than what impact are we making with these tasks that have been assigned to us? Do we even understand our company's priorities? Is our work aligned to the business goals and objectives? So we need to make sure that what you're doing, your contributions, they're strategic. They make you visible. You're not just, I'm just here, oh, I do my work, I carry my bag and I'm going home. And that's it. I mean, end of the month, I get my salary and I'm out. How do you want to be visible? How do you want to advance in your career? How do you want to scale? Right? So we need to make sure that whatever we are doing, we understand how we aligns with the business goals. We understand that we try to solve problems that the business has. We try to achieve the business objectives while we're at it, rather than just focusing on our day to day and not being strategic. So those are, some ways to avoid these mistakes that professionals make when they're trying to advance their careers.
All right, thank you, Aisha. Okay, I think I'll just move on to Vera lastly. So, what strategies would you say have helped you build strong business relationships and identify growth opportunities?
Thank you very much, Somtom. Majority of the strategies that we use as business operations, or I use as a business operations lead to build relationships have been mentioned. Number one, you must have empathy and genuinely care for the people around you. So I am always in a constant communication with both internal stakeholders, which is my team members, and external stakeholders. This can range from the banks to the provide liquidity providers that we have, and one thing, or the businesses that we service. And one thing I need to do is that, one, I always want to show that I genuinely care about them. One thing I tell the businesses that we work with is, you are in business so that I can be in business, and in as much as you're constantly in business, that would make me um, do better, or that would make me have more have my business grow. So I must constantly genuinely care for the people that I work with, both internal and external. And I also want to listen actively. So listening is a skill. I keep saying that, and that's because it's not just you of just opening your ears and having words flow through them. It's about hearing the message that is being passed and working with it. So active listening is also something that I do to make sure that I build genuine, authentic relationships with both my teammates and external stakeholders too.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Vera. Um, All right. We have come to the end of our panel session. Thank you to our amazing panelists for such honest and insightful conversations. I hope that everyone in the audience has picked up on some valuable takeaways, where whether it's about navigating your career path, or breaking into tech, or growing within it. I hope that everyone has gotten something amazing out of it. So now that you've gotten to know the people behind the work, let's just show you where all the magic happens, right? I know we couldn't take all of you into our space and bring you into our office space to for this session. So here's just a quick video that gives you a peek into our workspace and the vibrant environment that we've built here at Duplo. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we can all watch the video together. Okay. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm out of time and all I got is 4 minutes. Come on. Amazing, amazing, right? All right, I'm seeing a lot of comments. Wow, Aisha, Adeola, Vera, Ezekiel, you guys have really gained some wonder. You're really receiving praise and accolades in the chats. Okay, thank you guys so much. Um, all right, up next, I know a lot of people have been asking questions. I've been seeing questions about joining us and what opportunities we have. So up next, we'll just hear from our people operations manager, who will be sharing the exciting career opportunities currently available at Duplo. Over to you, Aisha, but I will share my screen. Okay, over to you, Aisha.
Sorry, I think I was muted. Okay, all right. Hi, everyone, again. So, yes, we've seen a number of questions about people looking to join our amazing team at Duplo. And yes, we always have an opportunity for you across, different levels, whether you're entry, mid, or senior management, or, mid-level management also. So if you would just scan the QR code to see some of our open roles, we have, roles across finance, marketing, sales, engineering also, because I've seen a lot of developers in the chat box asking questions if we have openings. So yes, please scan that QR code. Now, if you also do not see anything that matches what you're looking for right now, or that matches your expertise at this point, please also scan the talent pipeline QR code. When we have any opportunity that fits your experience, we'll be sure to reach out. So, and if you see anyone that matches your experience, please feel free to apply. So that's our career. So this barcode takes you to our career page. You can also keep refreshing on that if you don't see anything right now, or you scan the QR code for the talent pipeline, fill in your details, and we'll reach out to you when we have any role that fits your experience. All right, Somto. Okay, so I know that when I was speaking about internship earlier, I had mentioned that we have an amazing graduate internship program here at Duplo. Trust me, it's beyond your imagination. It's really great. It's a 6-month program. Duplo is not the kind of place where anybody will send you to get amala or send you to buy rice or ask you to just be making photocopies. No, it's very impactful. Every month, you have check-ins and the likes. If you're lazy or you're just looking for somewhere to come and while away time for 6 months, it's also not for you, right? Because you're going to be taking on, proper problems within the organization. You're going to be working on solving that. Other interesting things, right? Don't let me spill it all now. So please follow Duplo on LinkedIn, and also follow Duplo on Instagram at Try Duplo. There will be information out on what tracks are available for our graduate internship program this year in 2 weeks. So as soon as that comes out, please feel free to send in your applications, and just make sure that you stay connected with us so that you can check which track suits you best. There will be openings across a number of departments, not just engineering, right, and product. There'll be openings across other departments too. So please feel free to apply. We'll be looking forward to receiving your applications, and you going through our recruitment process. And when the lucky ones go through, we'll also be looking to have you join the amazing Duplo team and working with you. So thank you, everyone. Yes, that would be that on our graduate internship program. Over to you, Funke.
Okay, thank you so much, Aisha. I'll stop sharing now, but then I'll put it back up when we are done with our Q&A session. So thank you, Aisha, for walking us through the exciting opportunities available here at Duplo, from full time to internship programs. So it's clear that there's a lot of room to grow and thrive. So I'll just be opening up the floor for questions. I've gotten a couple of questions from people that I'll be asking. So it's just your chance to ask anything that's on your mind, about career journeys or anything in general. So feel free to just continue to drop your questions. So I think I'll start with saw a question for Ezekiel. In your experience with building and shipping products or products features, what three key factors do you think majorly affect the success of a product in real-time markets that can be influenced by the engineering or product team prior or during launch?
Okay,
Did you-
that's an interesting question. Yeah, I got the question. Yeah, so let me, from my experience, right, building and shipping products, there are three key factors that normally affect like a project success, right, product success. So I would list them. So one is to understand the user early and often, right? So no matter how good the tech is, if you're solving the wrong problem, right, or building like for the wrong user, right, the product will struggle, because like you having a car that you cannot drive, right, or a car without door to enter for you to drive it, right? Early user feedback, usability testing, and not even just talking to real people, ensure that right you're building and you're meeting their requirements, right? Then two would be clear scope and fast iterations, right? So the we always say we ship fast, we build fast, right? Reason is because there's always like a short circle in which you have to just impress the customer, right? So you just try to ship it a product, right? It might not be too perfect, but you're just trying to ship a product that can help solve the user's problem. Then doing that will also keep the user or the customer happy with your product. Then also you have like a clear MVP of what you're going to launch, right? Then the third item would be performance and reliability. So people don't really look at your code and say, okay, I have a clean code, or how clever your code is, or probably you're looking at, okay, algorithm, how fast this application will run, right? The key thing is, does the product satisfy the user, right? Is it buggy? Is it inconsistent, right? Just ensure that, okay, it's performing well and it's also reliable for when the users want it. And more especially, it's even more important when you have it during the launch, right? When, okay, you create the news that we've launched a product and we want users to try it, then boom, users want to try it out and then it's not working, right? So these are like the three things that you can focus on for that. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. All right. Um, Thank you for that, Ezekiel, and I hope your question has been answered. I saw another question from Ojo Oluwakemi. He says, "I have worked in banking sector for 2 years and 6 years in education sector. I resigned last year to start an online tutoring career that's teaching kids in diaspora. I really want to try other aspects of remote job. Can you give any suggestions?" I think I'll just throw that to Aisha to answer.
All right, thank you, Somto. Okay, that's a very interesting, and unique experience in banking, in education. Now you have online tutoring. So, I'd say that there are a variety of, job options that could align with your background and maybe your interests. You're currently doing online tutoring, right? You could also, take up instructional design, right? Now, that would, I mean, entail you creating, like, developing and creating, course curriculums, learning experience for some of these, online learning platforms. That's another path that you could take that still, aligns with your background. Another one would be, you could also be a virtual project manager, right? You don't have to be there physically available. You have an organizational skills, obviously, from banking, from education. It would be really perfect for you to, manage teams, manage projects, because project management, right? It involves you overseeing project timelines, budgets, coordination, and the likes. And you can do all of that, right? Remotely. Another one you could do, you could also, do customer success, right? I think, but I'll let Adeola speak better to this, right? And I'm saying this because of the banking experience that you have. And of course, there's also, sales and business development. I know that people also do that remotely. There are, a number of opportunities. Now, I think that this aligns with your banking background, right? Sales, business development, especially in, financial spaces also, seeing as you're coming from the banking sector. Yes, so I think that those are some, other opportunities that align with your background that you can take up.
Okay, thank you for answering that, Aisha. I saw Daniel say we don't have a product designer panelist here. I would love to hear from him, his insight and his experience so far at Duplo. Don't worry, this is not going to be our last rodeo at this. We will definitely have another session where we reshuffle, different talents that can come and also speak with you. Um, Okay, someone said, I have experience in, okay, I have experience in project monitoring under the project management office, but under a physical engineering company. My question is, can the experience here be used to pivot to a tech company? I think I'll just ask that to Adeola. I'll throw that to Adeola. Did you get the question, Adeola?
Yes, I did. So if I get you clearly, this person has project management experience in a physical engineering company and is
Yes,
wondering how he can replicate that skill
in the tech industry.
in the tech industry where engineering is more of software and not hardware, right? So I would say yes. And I think the first and most important thing is for you to again research what does project management look like in the tech space. So I had mentioned earlier that if you're coming from another industry into the tech industry and you're coming with your transferable skills, You also need to identify what does your profession look like in the industry that you are moving to. So if you are a HR manager, for example, in the real estate industry, for example. And how do you hire in the real estate industry? How do you hire in tech? If you're a customer service manager in travel, for example, how do you attend to customers in travel? How do you attend to customers in tech? What are the type of customers that you see in tech? So for project management, I think it's first of all important that you do some sort of research on what project management means in the tech industry. Then you look at yourself, you self-evaluate what are those skills that are necessary for a project manager within the tech space, for a project manager, sorry, within the tech space. Do you have those skills? If there are certain skills that are lacking, how do you upskill? There are a lot of free courses on Coursera. There are a lot of free courses or low cost courses on LinkedIn that you can take just to bridge that skill gap, just so that you, when you're speaking to a potential employer or a hiring manager, you're speaking from a place of knowledge. You're speaking from a place of this is where I am coming from. These are the skills that I have. This is what I understand that you need, and this is what I bring to the table. Because when you're coming into tech for the first time, you need to sell value. Again, you might not have a lot of experience in tech, right? So this is what I've done within this particular company in tech. This is what I've done for that particular company in tech. So it comes from how can you sell your skill technically. So it is important that again you do a research on what project management means within the tech industry. You self-evaluate to see the skills that you have. If there are any skills lacking, you try to fill up those skills that are lacking, and then you communicate your skills technically. You package yourself well for whichever role that you're looking to get in. Even if it's an internship, like Aisha had said, you package your CV well. You communicate or you coin your skills in a way that the hiring manager understands the value that you bring, even though you do not have the experience.
Okay, thank you for that, Adeola. Just the last question. Someone says I'm an electrical engineer and I am interested, but I have no idea where to start from. Ezekiel, I think I'll just throw this to you.
Okay. Thank you, Somto, for the question. So fun facts, I also studied well, my department is part of EIE, electrical, right? Information and communication engineering. So yeah, how you can start is look for what you want and start taking. So the one good thing about tech skill is you can always learn it. It's not something that you have to go to a school to learn, right? You can always learn. YouTube, Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn, there are so many out there, even mentorship, personal mentorship, right? Um, you can do that, right? Get what you want, get a mentor. A mentor would shorten your journey, right? For example, you don't need to, mentor can say, okay, skip this part, just learn this part and do this. So mentors always shorten your journey, right? Then also, I've mentioned, right, do projects, learn more and build your skills. So your background really does not really affect or does not even determine how far you go in the tech industry.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ezekiel. So that brings us to the end. I know that we are a minute over time. We're just trying to get to as much questions as possible. Also, if there were any specific questions that we couldn't answer, we will do that over the coming weeks. Um, so thank you so much to everyone that joined Duplo's very first virtual open house. Thank you for spending your time with us today. And we just hope that you're walking away with valuable insights, practical advice, and a clearer picture of what a career in tech looks like. There was a last question that I saw from Mary Adeleke. She says, "Good afternoon, everyone. I am very grateful for this opportunity. My name is Mary. I'm currently building a fintech startup. I'm currently building Transfix, a fintech startup that specializes in fixing failed transactions in the finance space. My question is for a founder who is not technical and is finding it difficult to find a co-founder that is technical. What advice would you give to help simplify this problem?" I'll just throw that over to Sarah to speak on that.
All right. Thanks, Somto. Thank you so much for your question, Mary. So what I've been able to do is secure you a spot to have a chat with Yele, who is our CEO. He has experience with obviously startups, getting co-founders and the likes, and we hope that that will be beneficial for you. So somebody will reach out to you via email, just to confirm availability, and would have that chat set up for you.
Thank you for taking that, Sarah. Um, that brings us to the end. Like I said, this is 3 minutes over time. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Thank you for being here. I just hope that you have, been able to get answers to some questions. Get valuable insights, advice, a clear picture on your career path. If you're interested in exploring opportunity with us, just be sure to scan the QR code. I said I will bring that up again. Be sure to scan the QR code that we have, and definitely we would reach out to you if we think that you are good for the roles that we have open. So thank you once again. Would love to stay connected. If when you do log out, you will get a survey. A survey. So please fill the survey. We're trying to get feedback on the webinar and how we can improve. Yeah, so also, like I said before, if there are any questions that we couldn't answer, we will do it over the coming weeks. All right, until next time, take care and just keep growing. Have a nice day, guys. Bye. Thank you to our panelists too, and to you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Bye.